Admiral's Log. Today brings mixed news as we reflect on the progress of our efforts in the conflict with China. Our land invasion in Manchuria has been a success, and we have achieved our objectives there. Unfortunately, the naval invasion in Kiaochu Bay was not as successful as we had hoped. Despite the bravery and determination of our men, the invasion did not go according to plan. The men fought with honor, but the Chinese were steadfast in their defense. However, we have reason to celebrate as our new destroyers have now entered service. These vessels possess a low draft, making them stealthy ships that are difficult to detect. Additionally, their speed is a formidable asset that will make them hard to kill in combat. These ships will play a crucial role in our future operations and provide us with a new level of mobility and firepower in the Pacific. Their first test will be a small unit attack on a Chinese battleship. If these new ships can pull this off and survive, then the class will be an instant success. Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome to episode 11 of Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts Japan 1910. At least that's where we started, we're now in March 1918. The attack on Manchuria has failed. I have lost 52,000 men. The Chinese have lost 121,000. This, however, is not telling the whole story, because this seemingly is just one of the prongs of attacks. So if you ever get one of these notifications saying, hey, this operation went sour, just check the map, because it might not be telling the whole story. The war with China is still ongoing, and I don't see the Chinese having gained any massive amount of victory points that I was worried about, so we should still be fine. In fact, now that my new fleet of destroyers has arrived, we should be even better than fine, because I now have a whole bunch of the new destroyer class. What was the name of that clip? The Wakaba class. And I've got a whole bunch of Wakabas, and with those I have a lot of capabilities, because the Wakabas are armed with a couple of 3-inch guns, as well as torpedoes, and they can lay mines. So with these destroyers, I can do a lot of different operations. You can see some of them are still being commissioned. I can do a lot of different operations depending on what I need them to do. They're jack of all trades, master of none. The Chinese only have 3 destroyers, so if they're going to counter my destroyers, it's going to be with their heavies. But my destroyers are equipped with longer range torpedoes and shouldn't have that much of an issue dealing with heavy cruisers at range. Short range? Yes, I will likely die. Longer range? I should be fine, because these guys most likely won't even be able to see me. The problem, however, is I am fighting the AI. And because of that, the AI gets this magical warning about torpedoes, so they'll likely have some clue that something is up. Now, there hasn't been a whole lot of interesting research happening, sadly. I haven't really had any massive breakthroughs. I'm getting better control stations, yay. It's not actually getting me anything. I mean, this is also part of this. The game is released, sure, but if it says new ship parts are available, give me actual new ship parts, because so far this has done absolutely nothing, or the tooltip isn't filled in, which is also a telltale sign of a game that is not finished. I am getting potentially better engines, the turboelectric drive. I want to speed that up, and I don't care about cruiser design anymore that much. I just want to get the better engines. I'm going to make myself a Brawler battleship, because I really enjoy brawling. It is something that I end up doing almost all the time anyway. So I might as well have a ship that is expressly designed to do that. To brawl. To go in close with the enemy. No, that's the cat. To go in close with the enemy. And a turboelectric drive is something that's going to make your ships really, really expensive, but also really, really capable of maneuvering quickly. Oh, it looks like Austria-Hungary has finally put their foot down. I am not giving them any money. So I'm going to war with Austria-Hungary as well. That's nice. Am I at... I'm not going to be at odds with Germany. The rest are all fairly neutral. Wow, that is one bold submarine. This is the invasion fleet. Yeah, no, thank you. Goodbye. Oh... Wakaba class, Wakaba class, Wakaba class. Yes. 2 older ones, but a bunch of the Wakabas. This is going to be amusing. So, meet the new kids on the block. These guys are the new class of destroyers. They have an odd build, an odd design. They got 3-inch guns on the bow and stern, double both. This is going to mean that if they're engaging... Sorry, they're also doubling as submarines. If they're... What are you doing? If they're engaging something from the bow or stern, they won't have a lot of firepower, but it should be sufficient to make the enemy a bit more miserable. These 3-inch guns fire every 3.8 seconds. Notably, very good AP. Very, very good AP. 12 inches of 5,000 meter range is very good. Thankfully, they don't necessarily need to get to that range, but they, well, I guess they kind of will have to, because they only get a torpedo range of 4.8. These are fast torpedoes, and with that, I hope, are they? Yeah, and with that, I hope that the enemy's going to have a harder time dodging them. Of course, you are trading your availability of sneak attack with your availability of speed. So you're trading one for another. Whether that will work remains to be seen. The only other older destroyer that I have is the Shi, or the Shi. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And the other guys, well, they're substantially faster. These older DDs only do 31.8 knots. The new class does 38. And I believe I gave them a very low draft. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we can sneak up to this guy and have them have a very difficult time of spotting us. Now, I do launch, potentially, 6 torpedoes at them. That is 3 more than what the older class can do. The torpedoes that this guy carries is 18-inch. These guys carry the newer 19-inch. They got the Mark III deck tubes. These got the older Mark II single deck tube. Approach speed should be really, really high, because this guy is almost coming directly at me. And if I set these guys to loose... Oh, hold on, the Satsuki is another older one. With that removed, I can increase speed to flank. We're going to smoke up. And we're basically going to do an Italian destroyer attack against these guys. And by that, I mean in World of Warships, back when I was still playing that, you had the Italian destroyers, which basically charged you from a smokescreen. They were fantastic fun to play. Really quite difficult to defend against, if you didn't know how to. I mean, the real answer was just run away, and you're pretty safe. But if you didn't know what to do, those menaces could be really quite annoying. The Paolo Emilio, which was a tier 9 destroyer I played back then, was really good fun. Just charge something at extreme speeds, smoke up, and all that they see is, as Jingles would put it, a really aggressive, fast approaching smokescreen that starts spewing torpedoes at you the moment that it gets quite close. Now, the fact that the Oboro is traveling at 38 knots might just save its life, because this ship is going to have a target fast speed modifier of 86%. If I'm maneuvering, it's going to also make it quite difficult, and take note that my small size gives them another minus 60% chance to hit. So their hit chance at 4 kilometers is less than 1%. And that's without actually maneuvering with the Oboro. If I actually start maneuvering around, it's going to be substantially more difficult. You can completely troll the AI, and sure, at shorter ranges they will get more accurate, but if you just keep dancing around with the ship, well, good luck. I mean, we're basically drifting. At this range, I wouldn't be surprised if armor piercing is actually going to do some damage. Yeah, here we go. Okay, Oboro. Look at that drift. Torpedoes to target. 1.8 clicks out. Yep, torps away. Oboro. Very good. These torps are going to hit hard, and they're going to hit really, really quick. The AI might be extremely good at dodging, but I don't know if they're going to be this good. So I'm going to try and do a similar attack with the Minazuki, but I'm going to keep her pointed at the target for a while longer to ensure that the Shusheng has completed its dodging maneuver, and that I'm not stacking dodging on dodging. What? Did we just cause flooding with a 3-inch gun? We did. Aft main belt partial pen. Main build partial pen. And here comes the torp. 2 torps. This thing has hit me once, and it didn't even do any damage. Now, to be fair, this is a 9 million... Sorry. Oh, you even got a flash fire. This is a $42 million battleship. My destroyers are 9 million a pop. No pun intended. So it is not at all unexpected to find that the Xusheng is unable to accurately shoot. It doesn't have that many guns. The guns that it does have are really big. Of course, we're not even counting the amount of damage that is taken. But the sheer speed of these things makes them obnoxiously difficult to hit. You can see that these guys still have a 6% chance to hit me now. Their rate of fire is not that good, 29 seconds. So this is, yeah, destroyers what they destroy best. Big, slow, lumbering battleships. And at 38 knots, the guys took 1 hit, but completely ridiculed a battleship. The Xusheng is going to go down as an absolute disgrace. The ship has been completely destroyed without the Chinese landing. Well, they landed 1 hit. They didn't actually do anything beyond that. So, I'd say that is the type of outcome that I seek. That is the type of work that I expect from these new destroyers. And as destroyers go, I'll take a whole bunch more of these. Because this is not only going to work well against these battleships, it will also work quite well against those heavy cruisers of theirs, and they still got a few of those. Now, I really hope that the Chinese are going to maintain their war. I would hate for these guys to not make it into Manchuria, and that would be, yeah. What? Ah, okay. So they lost 132k. We lost 40k. They didn't get victory points. You're strengthening Brits versus me, that's fine. One of these pushes is still failing, but we still got this guy, and this is 96%. If this goes through, and we get a peace offer, I am entirely happy to take it. I would really appreciate taking that deal. Because then I get Manchuria, and I can negotiate for the release of something else. What am I going to get? Oh... can sign me up for those. Modernized Dreadnoughts 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to build a big-ass Brawler. In the meanwhile, we're going to have to go through a couple of semi-battles, if you will. But there's just not that much left of the Chinese fleet. They got 25 ships versus my 91. Through auto-resolving and through having bad light cruisers, I simply don't have the victory points that I could have had. Hold on, how much is that going to get? 119 tons, okay. 119,000 tons, sorry. I simply don't have the victory points that I could have had, but at some point it is just easier to go through a bunch of these battles and auto-complete them, rather than having to go through all of them one by one by one. Because some of those were just these sort of semi-battles, these non-battles, that were just tedious and boring. So I'm glad that even with auto-resolve, it's not ideal, but it does get the job done. Are we still within budget? We are. Excellent. So, that means we can even continue work on the Satsuma. And with that, we're still perfectly within budget. Now, let's mobilize some of the new destroyers. I'm going to send a couple of these guys over to, let's say, Chamulpo, from where they'll be able to lay a couple of mines. We got the Taibo, the Nara, the Naniwa, and the Nokogiri. Make your way to Port Arthur, if you will. Nokogiri is still refitting, so that's fine. We got this area properly mined, thanks to a couple of submarines, which are parked in various ports. So the ports of Xiamen and Chinchu are completely blocked off. The ports here I cannot block off because I don't have a port. It's a bit weird. I mean, these guys carry mines, but they're unable to drop them. I don't know why. I would ideally just drop mines in front of a light cruiser or in front of anything that comes out of Shanghai, but you can't do that. So, next turn. Let's see. Are we going to get Manchuria? Yes or no? If not, it's probably going to go and give the Chinese a ton of victory points. If we get it, then the Chinese have been dealt a pretty hefty blow. But they're not out. They can then launch an attack from northeast China at Manchuria. So taking a province is step 1. Holding a province could be a whole different ballgame. Could be an entirely different challenge. First, we're building a whole bunch of new ships, apparently. Colorado class, Tucson class. Laid down new submarine hulls. France offers an alliance, but they need money. Oh, they need a lot of money. $500 million? If they do not have money to support the Navy, how come... Yeah. I don't need an alliance with the French right now. Masses of dissatisfied pacifists protest and block the roads. What do you propose to do? Strong police. Gonna set back some relationships and cost me some money. Or I can give them a lot more money and improve my relationships with basically everybody. It's gonna further my naval prestige and it's gonna reduce unrest. I'll do this. It's gonna cost me more than the alliance with France, but I value my unrest in my nation a lot more. So if I can keep that under control and boost my own naval prestige, then by all means. Soviet Union is working on a bit too much money. I still don't know if I have the province. Fine, I agree to your peace province, or peace treaty. Oh, you want to have another demonstration? No, by all means. If you're back for more with one of your last surviving 4 battleships, then I'll gladly give you another demonstration of the sheer firepower and utter terror that these new destroyers are going to be capable of delivering. The only one I do not want in the group is the older boat. That is the Nashi. You're going to detach. You are going to join. And we are going to sink a battleship. Avoidance off. Formation on. You know what? You can just kind of leave. We're going to have to hunt down a battleship. Destroy 100% of tonnage of the whole enemy fleet. Shouldn't be too hard. I spotted them. They haven't spotted... Yeah, they spotted me, alright. Oh, accuracy is dreadful. This is fantastic for my destroyers. Because even if the game doesn't graphically show it, it means that my ships are even more difficult to hit. What's your chance? 1.4. Okay, what if I smoke myself up? 1.1, 1.2. Time to zigzag. If only a little. Range 3.4. Everybody fire armor piercing. Damage to the main tower. Rudder damaged. Oh, that is outstanding. I don't think it's gonna last. No. That lasted a fraction. Pen. Partial pen. Miss me. Flooding. This is just bullying at this point. Okay, so you've launched. The battleship's responding. Boom. One torpedo just randomly changed direction. So you already got 3 floodings. Okaba just launched half her salvo. And it's gonna all miss. We're gonna turn to port. And keep in mind, I can just leave and I can do it again after reloading. Which is going to take me 642 seconds. So in about 10 minutes I'll be back. And I'll launch again. Hold. Some of these torps might actually land, but it's a dud. Ow. It's a dud. She's badly, badly listing, and this ought to kill her. Yep. 3 torps. 1 or 2 duds. 2 duds, 1 actual. So now we can reload. And in the meanwhile, we can finish off this ship. She's been mortally wounded. It's essentially just waiting until she succumbs to those wounds. Because that flooding seems to be bad. And considering that it's progressing, I doubt they can get it under control. So 2%. 0.4. Done. Damage taken, 1.5k. Damage dished out, 3.7. But I have a destroyer that's still combat capable after a bit of patchwork. Your battleship probably will not tell the same tale. So, job done. Excellent work. Even if I say so myself. I really like these new DDs. They do remarkably well for what they cost me. And they can keep doing remarkably well, especially as the crew gets even more veteran. And just having those 3-inch guns actually punch holes in an enemy battleship, I think is really funny. Yeah, we're going to auto-resolve that. It's still that Overmind 1. That thing refuses to sink. Now it's finally taken heavy damage. Okay, no. Manchuria has been conquered. Excellent. That's what I was waiting for. I don't feel like I've taken any victory points from that. The Battle of Dutch New Guinea? Oh, you guys are doing an independence war, are you? That's what's happening. Here. Yeah, there's a revolt. Okay, fine. So, I am now the new owner of Manchuria. How about that? Unexpected outcome. Okay, Northeast China is a different story. The Chinese have about 1,000,001 in army. So, getting those guys is going to be a whole lot more difficult. Interestingly, there is no peace between Japan and China. So we're still at war, and that means we'll just have to hit these guys again. If that is what they desire, then that is what they shall get. I'm gonna pull my, let's say, worst destroyers away. Worst destroyer, in fact. Because Nashi is also an older build. That's not necessarily good. That means I got Nokaze and Hagikaze. Bloody hell. In order to deal with a heavy cruiser, I have to see how well these guys will do. Let's see if the Nashi can still be useful as perhaps a decoy, as the rest of my destroyers run in and await their opportunity to strike. Ideally, I should see the enemy sooner than they see me. Yep, 5-6, they still haven't seen me. Let's see if we can make that last. 5-4. 5-3. Sea state's not that bad. 5-1. There, now they see me. About 4-9. They're turning to their starboard. Okay, very good. Let's see what their accuracy is. About 0.6. So still fairly off. But I'm not running at flank speed, because I was part of a division that carried a slower destroyer. Now, this number should change. 2.2, 2.1, 1.9 as we increase speed. Smoke up as well. Let's make it really... Yep, armor piercing is going right through the rudder. It's setting fires. Oh man, did I make these destroyers overpowered? He asks after taking down 2 battleships without a scratch. No, not entirely. One of those did cause me some issues. Ow. Go on. Stick to armor piercing. You're even causing flooding. Oh jeez, that was bad. That was bad. Soon there might indeed be no Kaze. Shit, they knocked off your torps. That's bad. That's bad. See, heavy cruisers are a bit of a different breed and could potentially be more dangerous. Also, not having a rudder on this DD is not making my life any more comfortable. Nashi, I need you to push in. They got 8.6-inch guns. Are you something different? Are you one of those different builds? Because this thing has a lot... Yeah, it's a different build. This thing has a lot of side mounts. Her turning circle, 382. Oh boy. There goes the conning tower. Some torps away. They detect them. They have a damaged rudder. So it might be a bit more difficult for them to dodge, but I don't see this attack going particularly well. More flooding. Torpedo detonation. Like that. Second salvo away. Nashi, don't care about the collisions. I know you got 2 more torps. The Shikang is going to have to really decide what it wants... Yeah, there we go. There's a hit. What it wants to do now to dodge all those torps. It can't, reliably. Many bulkheads. Only got the 2 smaller torps left. Shikang. What's the plan, dude? If I can hit you on the bows, you're going to have a lot of issues. You can hit me once, you're probably going to kill me. Yeah, see? Like that. Oh, that torpedo's a dud. That's not going to hit. Come on, get the last one away. Do it. I think it got destroyed. Okay, you are now the torpedo. This did not go as advertised. Now she's down. One of the older DDs. This guy is still alive. This one is too. So, the Nokaze alive but no longer useful. The Hagikaze alive and probably useful. It's just that I don't think engaging is the better idea right now. I'd rather evac. Get these guys back online. I mean, I don't strictly mind losing this ship. It's a 3.4 million destroyer. This thing is costing me about 3 times that. So, while the loss of that ship is regrettable, it is by no means, well, as bad as losing one of these high-tech destroyers. Ah, they fixed their rudder. But yeah, those cruisers are something else. In order to deal with those cruisers, I'm going to need something else. Something like a brawling dreadnought, if you will. And considering that the enemy does not have a lot of speed, I should be able to get them, well, with what, like 25 knots? Not sure if a dreadnought can do 25 knots, but we're about to find out. Finally, lightweight fittings. Allows lighter hull materials of large strength. I like it because it allows me the modernized dreadnoughts 1, 2, and 3. So, time for some brawling. Time for a brawling battleship. In the meanwhile, the British, which I have allied with, are also at war with China. So I am very interested to see if the British are going to invade China from their own territory, essentially. Here. They don't have a lot. Invading with like 2,000 guys against 158 is going to be a bit of a tricky move, but, you know, if the Brits suddenly snap their fingers, then they might 10 times that number. I don't know how this works. I've seen the AI do all sorts of weird shit. So it's entirely likely that we're going to see substantial numbers of British troops move around. Could they do it from Hong Kong? Not really. They're more likely to get invaded in Hong Kong. Anyway, it does mean that I now have the full backing of the British fleet and their 55 battleships. They got a massive fleet. Is that necessarily a good fleet? I don't know. The British, like the other AI players, don't scrap their bad designs. They don't scrap their old ships. They do have almost 2 million tons of ship. With a naval budget of 40 billion a year. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Anyway, I want to build a really expensive ship. I want to build a brawling battleship with a good engine. I have 2.6 billion in the bank. I'm getting 114 million a month. Let's go build a brawler. So, what am I thinking? Modernized Dreadnought 3. Oh god, this thing is going to turn like a brick. But all those casemate ports, though. This thing is going to turn like an absolute canoe. 850 meter turning circle. Cool story. 822 or a 631. Maximum displacement, 69,000 tons is what you think. This is going to up the turning circle even more. I am thinking that with the draft... If I increase the draft, it is going to make the ship less likely to flood, but if it does flood, the water spreads faster. It does take a lesser penalty for maneuvering, which I'll be doing a lot. I'll be doing a lot of turns, increasing speed, decreasing speed. this could be useful. As for beam, beam is going to give me less water spread chance. This is kind of the opposite. It's going to give you an accuracy or an accuracy penalty for maneuvering. If I reduce the beam, so make it a really sleek boat, I get less water spread chance, more acceleration, again an accuracy penalty for maneuvering. What? You just get an accuracy penalty for maneuvering whether you do this or not. Basically, you're going to be screwed anyway. Top speed of this hull? 22.5 knots. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Anyway, less water spread chance, or sorry, less water spread speed, better acceleration, better turning rate, better speed at max turning rate, I like that, better operational range. Turning circles, not great. Let's see, if I want to push this to 23 knots, it's fine. 25 knots. Yeah, see, 26 knots. This is when we start really increasing the weight. But, turbo electric drive. Just watch the price. Whoops. That was a 3x. If I go back to like 22.5 knots, the price drops by 200 million. And the displacement, 5,000 tons. Okay, let's do 24 knots. These things are going to be crazy expensive. But I don't mind. I got the money. I just want to build a fun ship. Group 4. All the anti-torp. Survivability is a critical issue because I am a brawler. I'm going to be close range all the time. Best steering gear. An unbalanced rudder. And the best propeller shaft that I can get. Okay, the real question is, will this fit? Yes, it will. Wow. That is interesting. Okay, so you can have a minuscule footprint. This gives me ideas. Where... Yeah, you do need a mega funnel complex. That's not that bad. Where can I put barbettes? Can I put them everywhere? You can? Holy moly. I can have 6 main battery guns. 15 inch is the biggest I have, but they're not very good. 14-inch is Mark II, 13-inch Mark III. I'm thinking of just going with 13 inches but triple barrel everything. Which would give me 18 barrels. That's a lot. How do I set that up? It's a brawler. AB secondary. How heavy are those? Let's first make sure that they get the upgrades that I require. Best TNT, please. 2-powder-1. Short range. Yet high pen. Heavy shells. I'm thinking short range for this ship is going to be like 7,500 meters. Let's go with semi-ballistics. Getting me 28 inches of armor pen. Should be sufficient. If not, I can always do a quick refit and go to standard shells. HE. Cap ballistic is fun. Because you get that high explosive damage. You get 1300 high explosive damage with that. But also a lot of pen. This is going to give you more high explosive damage, but almost no pen. I think either can work on this ship. Because with these guns, you can just blow away a ship that you don't like if it has a lot of armor. If that doesn't work, and you instead have the high capacity shells, you just set a fuck ton of fires on them. Like all of them. So, yeah, I think this is gonna work. I would like very high barbettes. Barbette strength, that is. These guns look small on this hull. But considering what I've been up against, I think they're fine. They've been serving me extremely well. Let's see, if I put that turret there, that extends the citadel quite far. Let's not. Give me a barbette. I'm also thinking of putting, like, not centerline turrets, but side guns as such. But the problem is these things are weighing a lot. I still need a secondary tower. I still need to do something about my engine efficiency. With a forced boiler. Secondary tower weighs almost nothing, so that's fine. But I also want to make use of all these casemates, because I can house 6-inch Mark III. It's not as much as I would like, really. Look, if I go the other way and go Capitalistic 2, these shells are going to be way too strong. But the 6-inch... that's a lot of pen for a 6-inch gun. So you can go either way. I'm thinking of going just semi-ballistic and upgrading the 6-inch guns to deal a lot of damage. That's the plan. Standard ratio. And yeah, that's going to be max HE shells. Why not the Mark II? The Mark III with like a smaller diameter has better range. So they will open up faster. Their accuracy is better all over. So I always prefer Mark III. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Doesn't even weigh that much. Now the beauty of it is, you can, of course, upgrade these. So we're going to push these to 6.9. And now I have almost 12-kilometer range with HE. I can push that even more if I give them longer barrels, but considering that I'm going to be short range anyway, like I'll not increase the barrel length. We're just going to go with it as is. Again, they're going to be really expensive ships. 247 million. We don't even have a radio yet. We don't have a rangefinder yet. We don't have an acoustic station yet. We do have most of the upgrades, I feel. So we should be getting somewhere. Armor belt. This is going to be more important than deck, I feel. So let's say front deck is going to be 3-inch. Aft deck is going to be 3 inches as well. I'll take an 8-inch forebelt and an 8-inch aft belt, because I'm kind of concerned that I will flood. Which is not a prospect that I hold very dear. Now what I can do, ideally if I have the right barbette, is go for a tall barbette for the secondary gun. I have... oh, I don't have the Mark III. That would be a 6-incher. Like that. Jeez, that thing's way too tall. Okay. Could these be housed here? Just there. Not ideal. So, more 6-inch guns? Or will the game allow me to do something silly? No. Sadly not. I was really hoping that a tall barbette for small guns could also house like a 13-inch gun, because it is relatively not that big. You can't put a 12 on, you can't put an 11 on. Can you put a 9-inch gun on? No, no fun allowed. Okay, can you do that for... crap, no. There isn't anything like this for medium guns. You got the tall superimposed barbette, but it's not tall enough. I need to stack 2 of those on top of each other, weld them together, and then we actually have something that we can work with. So you got the medium superimposed barbette. It's not good enough. It's not tall enough. Also, I can only have 3 barbettes. So, the alternative is just to put a gun like over there. This might work a little better, because I can rotate 2 directions pretty quickly. And then on the stern, basically have the same thing. This already has more firepower than the other ship of a recent development, the Mikaho. This one only displaces 47,000 tons, but only has 12 barrels. I have 18 barrels, so it's 50% more firepower. About twice the price. That too. Not a cheap boat. Range is ridiculously good though. 33,000 kilometers. Damn. Okay. Then I get about, what, 4,000 tons to work with on further armoring the ship. If I'm so inclined. Now let's say that the enemy is bringing the biggest possible guns that they can, which is a 15-incher. This thing at, let's say, 7,500 meter range, flat side, can pen 30 inches of armor. But if they get the best shell with it to go, it's 54 inches of armor. I'll never be able to angle or armor up against that. I could go with something like an 18-inch main belt, 17-inch main belt, but I think that's a bit much. A 15-inch main armor belt plus 130% armor quality is over 30 inches of armor. That's a lot of armor. You'll not likely have to worry about those levels of armor. At least I'm not expecting to. What I can do is make all of these guns 13.9s. That means they reload in a minute, though. That's a concern, because I would like to get some rate of fire out of them. And this puts them down... it's not even that much. Whoops. This puts them down to 57.8. And if you do put them... that was 65? But I bet that their firepower is substantial. You're going to 1,000 damage of AP to 1,300. So that's 30% more. For less than 30% extra reload. Yeah, why not? I have the displacement. It's just the ship is a bit bow heavy. I have to shuffle some shit around in order to actually have this thing be feasible. Now, normally I would probably put something... What? I would probably put something like a 2-inch bunch of guns on the tower. But in this case, I'm not really inclined to do that, because I don't believe it's gonna really add that much relative to the 6-inchers. The 6.9s, really. I mean, ideally, I will have obliterated almost anything by the time it gets this close. So if at all possible, I would rather not install any secondary guns and just use all of that displacement on further armor. Push this back. If I push this out a little bit more, I'm trying to get a 360-degree turret, which I believe this is. Yeah. Now, I know that there's a color for it, but I am colorblind, so I always like and check. This thing is not 360. No. So we do need to do something about you. There. Now you can freely spin. This is going to definitely help when we have targets on two different sides of the ship. I can very quickly reacquire a target on the other side. Okay, inner belt. I'm going to give you like 2 inches there. 3 if possible. So if something penetrates the main belt, it's going to go to the second belt. The first inner belt could be 5 inches. Second inner belt 3 inches. So the chance that this actually gets a hit that makes it all the way to the Citadel is really low. Really low. Let's push this down a bit. Still trying to get rid of that 4-way displacement. It's not that bad, but it's just a pet peeve. There, 0.2. I'm happy. As for the additional displacement, fore and aft armor belt. Can we get both the 8.5? No. Fine. Both 8.4. It kind of irks me, but so be it. Let's push the inner deck out a bit more. There. Turrets are armored with 18 inches of side armor, and that's without the armor quality bonus. So yeah, they got plenty of armor. Let's give them a bit more top armor. Actually go back to 5 and make this 12 or something like that. 11.5? 11.5 it is. Okay, so Kaio class, 70,000 tons of displacement. Price 284 million. Firepower 18 13.9 inch guns. Lots and lots of firepower. If I eventually will be able to reload with better reloading systems, equip the ship with better reloading systems, this is going to be an absolute monster of a ship. It's going to have a ton of firepower. And even though it's built as a brawler, I think at range it is going to actually do quite well because of this big pagoda tower. You could also just redesign this thing and give it 12% longer barrels. That's going to push your reload to 90 seconds. But it does mean that you're able to acquire stuff at far greater ranges. And it does work really nicely in tandem with that big pagoda tower. I, however, am not going to do that. If I can get a bit, that'd be great. But right now, I'm just going to stick to 0. I'm going to keep it as a fairly short-range firepower. So that's the ship. That is the Kaio. Let's get 1 or 2 built. Although, considering the displacement, I'm not sure if my shipyards are up for a job like this. Because so far I'm building ships worth 46,000 tons. Now I'm going all the way up to 70,000 tons. So it's a big, big girl. Can the shipyards handle that and repair the rest of my fleet and refit some ships? Doubtful. Because I have been pushing limits lately. So likely not. Anyway, that's going to have to come some other time. The war continues in July 1918. I have Manchuria. I wonder what I can get from the Chinese in peace negotiations, but we'll just have to wait. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your thoughts are on the new ship, and I'll see you soon for more.